What's it? Oh, okay.
Oh, hey, I think we're recording.
Yeah, we are recording. Hey, Mike.
Hey, Byron.
Hello, friends, family, and everyone in between. Welcome back to the FillGood podcast, the podcast where we are talking to our heroes about the good they're putting into the world and the things that make them feel good. I am your Phil co-host, Byron Filler. With me, as always, is basically, Barry Allen's doppelganger.
I'm Barry Allen's doppelganger?
Okay, Barry Allen is your doppelganger.
But I thought he had like blonde hair and blue eyes.
You speed force.
I speed force.
You speed force real good.
I do. And I'm the good co-host, Mike Osgood. So,
Yes.
hello!
Sorry, this was a very misguided compliment.
It's all good. I'll take it. He's a superhero. I'm for it.
Mike, how are you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good.
Yeah.
I've been working a lot. I've been taking care of this puppuccino over here.
Oh
By
my
the way, guys,
goodness.
special appearance by Rosie.
Special cameo.
She is cat dogging. No, man, I've been good. I've been fine. I've been super busy, but
Yeah.
you know, I'm here. I'm living. Byron, how the heck are you, man?
I'm doing good. We're recording on a Saturday morning here.
Hell yeah,
and
we
it's
are.
just I had to start playing God of War and getting
As
into
one should.
yeah. Oh man, so
So
Mike and I have been talking a little bit of God of War outside of oh man, that Thor fight.
So,
That Thor fight.
I died so many times.
Really?
Dude, I was playing it on like the second hardest
You're playing-
difficulty.
okay, so
I
I don't-
want a challenge. If
You
I'm
want a
gonna face
challenge.
gods, I want a challenge.
So I'm on medium difficulty.
Okay.
I'm not the most like competitive person. I like more of an immersive experience. Like I'm not somewhat like if I really love a game, I'll go
Yeah.
back and do it on hard difficulty. But I feel like there's just so much out there. It's like I just want to experience this. I want to see the world. But like even so, that fight was so much fun.
The biggest and best thing about this whole game is the writing and
Yeah, it is. It's really good.
it's the banter in a way, like it's leading to the characters, like you get the personality of them. They are gods. They are all powerful. They are cocky, but they also use now and day kind of verbiage to
yes.
get the point across, which is so much fun and so many quippy moments.
Right?
But I love it. It's so good. It's so good. So I think
Speaking of gods.
speaking of gods,
We're talking today to Robbie Jimenez. We're talking to him about, so he is an American Ninja Warrior contestant. He is a musician. He is also a youth pastor. So we were talking a little bit about faith and religion here, and we wanted to take a second before we even get into the episode to kind of just talk about where Mike and I come from in the conversation. Not that this episode is anything where we get heated, but religion means a lot of different things to people, even those who are do not have faith in the traditional sense of faith. And I figured it's best for Mike and I to come into the conversation, share where we come from in all of this, because you're going to hear a lot of where Robbie comes from.
yeah.
And I think so. Mike, what do you want to talk about, like your side of things?
Yeah, I'll talk about mine. I've experienced religion a lot in my life, and for me, I've come to the realization that it's not for me. But I don't want to disparage anybody and their religious experiences or the communities and everything that they have built. For me, I come from a place of treating people with love and respect and goodness and wishing nothing but the best for people, and regardless of if there is an afterlife or not, that everybody gets the best that they can possibly get. So for me, that's where I kind of lie. I lean more towards the scientific things. But like I said, the thing that I absolutely love the most in regards to religion and everything there is the community and the people and the support structures that people can rely on. So that's my point of view. And I love having conversations with people and hearing about the goodness that can come from it. Is it for me? No. But I'm not here to yuck anybody's yum. So, Byron, what about you? What's your place?
So I don't know how to say without sounding like a nihilist. Like, I don't give a crap. Like,
Yeah.
For me, it's more about, I have a lot of fascination around religion, the stories and all denominations. I've experienced enough ethereal things in terms of just connections and moments in my life where I don't have an explanation, but I've never really been interested in going so far down that rabbit hole to try to drive myself, because I don't want to say like driving myself crazy, like like going around in circles and circles and circles and circles to try to really focus on it. I think a lot of and this has been about a couple things, my personal struggles and my neurodivergence and trying to just be present. It's like, oh, here's an extra thing to really think about and not allow me to be present. The other thing that I think about pretty often is like, I'm Jewish, and I was raised.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
At least in the Jewish religion, there's the race component to it. There, it's not just it's not just like if I stop believing in Judaism tomorrow, I'm still Jewish because I was born Jewish. So there is a lot of that conversation that I spend time reconciling with. I feel like, to me, I love to continue just having a fluid conversation about relief and focus on being in that place, which I think was it was really nice. This is why I was very grateful to Robbie for coming on and hanging with us and talking to us and being open-minded with us, because I think at least our impressions of people in his faith are basically, they can be very stubborn, and it's refreshing to see someone who is of the Christian faith who is sitting there who like thinks very similarly to you and I.
Yeah, but I think regardless with this conversation with Robbie is going to not only just discuss religion, it's going to talk about the power of perseverance and overcoming failure and people utilizing a variety of different ways of how to get over these things. Of when failure occurs, you get up and you keep moving. But I don't think we should tell his story. I think maybe we let him.
I think we let him.
Right.
Let's do this.
Let's do this. I'm gonna get this started off because I feel like we're just already having too much fun, and we just need to get this in context of actual interview. So, in 3, in 2, in 1. Ladies and gentlemen, friends, family, and everybody in between, welcome to the most exciting, most awesomest, most freaking fantastical episode of the FillGood podcast. Today, we are joined by one of the most crazy talented people I know, who has the musical ear of a guitar tuner, who can sit there and jam whatever you want him to do. He can run up any obstacle that you want him to. He is part Spider-Man, part Freddie Mercury. He is beautiful, fantastic. Look at this man's face. This is Robbie Jimenez. How are you?
I'm doing amazing now that it is a beautiful Thursday. and we're all wearing primary colors.
We are. Everybody look at this.
Boom.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hell
Matching.
yes.
Also, check out my Nirvana socks.
Oh, bro, you can't throw that. Okay, I don't have any socks, but I have a Mexican chancla. This is passed down to me by my father's father and his father.
Abuelito.
Yes, exactly.
Robbie, besides having cool shoes, how you doing today, man?
I'm good, bro. I'm good. How are you guys doing?
Amazing now.
Good.
Amazing.
Good.
I feel a lot better.
As one guests, everybody that's listening, we've already had about 20 minutes of laughter before this as we've done some tech warm-ups. So we're hoping to pass this along to you.
Quite.
So the way that we're going to start that off with is before we start talking about anything good, y'all know what we got to do. We have to address the bad, and we're going to go into our moment of bad. Let's acknowledge this. Let's put about 60 seconds on the clock for a little bit of each of us and just let's throw something into the universe and make it begone. Byron, I'm still thinking of mine, so I'm going to throw it to yours first.
Okay, so here's what I'll say. I had a meltdown yesterday. Now, if y'all know what an autistic meltdown looks like, it's not a fun experience, because from the outside looking in, it's a lot of crying, it's a lot of all of these kinds of I look like I'm kind of curled up on the ground. It's all of these sorts of different things, and to me, inside my head, what's really going on is, like, if you take like the mirror dimension and pass it through the room of requirement through a black hole that's prolapsing eternity, then you would be crying too.
Yeah.
And it's always and you can't avoid it. That's the thing that's really I don't want to call it bad, because it's not about it being bad. It's the bad is that I have to go through it. There isn't really a choice in any of this. There is actually a degree of this where I go through it, and there's certain experiences that I have unleashing that amount of emotion all at once. It is entirely complex and beautiful and just really big, but the fact that there's just no choice in it, and it's just like, buckle up everybody, we're going for this ride. And it's like, I'm not a fan of roller coasters, and this stuff is just not fun. It's not fun in the moment. So I'm not going to make meltdowns be gone. I'm going to make being forced to have a meltdown be gone, because I'm just not going to sit here and negate something that I would never change for the world. But yeah, it is what it is.
Hey, Byron. We love you.
Thank you.
Love you.
You're beautiful.
The fact that you've like gone through that journey multiple times just tells me that you're the most mentally swole person I've ever met.
Flex that brain.
Been through the vortex.
Do you even think, bro?
Do you even contemplate, bro? Oh my God, that is beautiful. And
thank you, Robbie. I really appreciate that.
I'm here for the next 90 minutes. Let's go.
Beautiful. Robbie, I'm still trying to think of a bad right now. If you have anything that is like bothering you that you want to throw into the atmosphere, feel free to throw it out.
Yeah, man, I'll throw it out. And it's heavy just because, like what's, with good, like there's also bad that we combat in life. And my band members, man, there's been there's just been a bucket load of bad news I'm hearing, like with my bandmates. Terrible sicknesses. We had 2 different family members of them pass away within the past week.
I'm sorry to hear that. And
so it's just it's heavy, man. And it's just like they're not. I didn't know any of the family members, but I know my bandmates, and I see, I just know that they feel so deeply. And but what's cool is that even though none of us are like blood related and like ethnically, like we're all very different background culturally, we're a family, and we come united. And what's really cool is I remember Sunday morning we were getting ready to do our thing and play a set and a worship set. And all of a sudden, one of our band members who had a relative pass away, she's literally calling Eric, and she's like, "Hey, I'm on my way." He's like, "What? You should be like grieving and mourning right now." She's like, "Nope, I'm ready to worship. Let's go. I'm on my way." And so it's amazing how I'm very honored to be with very resilient people who can process what they're going through, but at the same time, like, still choose, like, hey, I'm still gonna show up and do something with my day. So.
Well, we send our best to your bandmates and their families and everything like that. Much love to everybody. And
all the love,
all the love.
There we go, guys. We're gonna start a podcast tritet. What do you call a 3-people quartet?
Tritet's not a word. I don't care. Put it in the dictionary now. It's my favorite. Yeah. So.
We're the FillGood tritet, and today we're doing much love. Much love. Yes. I was struggling to find a bad for this week, but I'm gonna tie it on to like what you guys are doing, and then also I'm just gonna use this to be a quick little simple plug of why we do this podcast, which is that life isn't perfect, and it's not gonna be perfect for everybody. That achievement of like pure unadulterated happiness if you can find that, that's awesome, but majority of people aren't going to be able to. And it takes a lot of experience, and it takes a lot of loss, regardless of what that loss is, of if it's losing a person or if it's having some challenges within your mental atmosphere that's going on, like whatever it may be. Like, everybody has those experiences that build them into the people that they are today. And they also have the things that make them feel good. And they rely on those things of your bandmate choosing to come and play with the people that they love and be able to perform, because that's a thing that makes them feel good, especially during a time of loss, a heavy thing. You need to be able to find the time to cut out of your day of when things are hitting the fan, or even in the moment of just kind of pure quiet. Take a moment for yourself to do that thing, regardless of whatever it is, that makes you feel good. Just that little sprinkle of goodness that just brings you a little bit of joy. Just do it and have it. Treat yourself, and let's make that let's bring that into the galaxy and whatever else it may be, and just make that a thing and make yourself feel good. And that's been our moment of bad.
Happen.
Make it happen. Manifest it. Let's freaking go.
Can we just say that my favorite thing, I've never heard the expression mental atmosphere before, and that just sounds the most like magical version of like someone's brain. I literally think of like Northern Lights. It's just like, let me dive in your mental atmosphere.
It definitely sounds a lot better than mental purgatory.
That's true.
Guys, I'm here all week. If you ever need any other mismatch of words or whatever, I got you. $200 an hour. It works.
Thank you, Mikey. Worth it.
No. I'll give you guys family friend discounts. It'll be great.
Yeah.
Anywho, guys, we are here with our friend, the wonderful, awesome Robbie Jimenez, who is such an incredible human being in regards to a variety of different things. Not only is he an American Ninja Warrior contestant and all-around badass ninja, an incredible bass player. He has done so many things, but I don't want to tell his story. I want him to tell us his story, because like all good superheroes, they come with an origin story. Robbie, what's yours?
Oh my goodness, man. All right. Well, one day I was born, and then after that,
Thanks, Robbie's mom and
when are we
dad.
starting?
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Mom. Thanks,
Yeah.
Pops. But no, I would say, starting. I'll take it in like grade school, probably around kindergarten to second grade area. I definitely grew up as a very scrawny kid, but I knew that I loved athletics and I knew that I loved art as well. Not quite in the music yet, but I know that I was put in special needs from kindergarten to second grade just because my mind was wired a little bit differently. I would, laser focus in on whatever was important to me, or I had my attention, like my whole world was what was in front of me. And like it would, and I just remember as a kid, sometimes it would turn into like, if I'm like on a math problem, I'm like, I gotta get this right. And if the English teacher, or if the teacher, I should say, came in and just said, hey, we're going to switch to English book now. I'm like, no, we're not.
No, there's this question that needs to get solved.
I'm trying to figure out 64 divided by 8, bruh. I'm trying to, like, make things happen right now. And it's
8.
like, yeah, oh, yeah. I should have told myself that.
That's
Come on, little Robbie. But no, I was just so hyper-focused on it. And I think that helped me in my passion for art, because whatever I was dedicating my mind into, like, it was my best. And I think, like, as a grown man, like, that's translated in certain ways. Mm-hmm. I've been able to mentally kind of like limit myself in senses like, okay, like, hey, I can actually let go of this. It's not that big of a deal. And that's taken time to process. But I'm like 8 years old, and my family has, my family was one of those families that had a piano in their living room that was more of a decorative piece than the actual thing to be studied or touched. Yeah. And that upset me. So I touched it.
You pressed the button.
I pressed several buttons.
Oh, you touched it good.
Yep, I touched the button. But as I was touching more of these keys, like, I just was in love with sound. I just remember I would pick up little things, and sure enough, like, I remember the first song that I ever learned was actually the Titanic theme song. And
my heart will go on.
Yeah, my heart. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mikey.
I got you.
I'm glad to hear that. Yeah. So.
Celine Dion, what a champ.
Yes, what a champ. But anyways, like, I'm just like figuring out these songs like on my own, and then fast forward, I start learning, alto saxophone in 6th grade, and I would just, I would just love sound, and I remember I was in class, and you had these clarinet players that were playing, the main melody lead for, like, I think the song was like American Patrol or something like that. But it was this really cool, like, I'm like, yo, that's dope. I'm going to learn that on alto saxophone. And so I learned it on the sax, and the clarinet players would get so mad at me. Like, one day, like, one person was like, play your part. And I'm like, no.
My part's boring. I want to play yours.
Yeah. So,
jazz it up in here.
That's right. Like, I actually stood up, and there were pyrotechnics, and I suddenly had visor glasses on when I played the melody.
As one does, they channel the magical, like, saxophone god energies, and pretty much it happens.
Yep. And then it was at that point, then the teacher told me to sit down and learn my own part. But anyways, so we fast forward, high school, I'm picking up a little bit of guitar, and I remember I was just, my mission playing guitar was to shred and become the ultimate guitar god and melt every single face that I came across. That was my mission at 15.
As is standard for a 15-year-old.
Listen to, Zeppelin, Guns N' Roses, AC/DC, you name it. That was like the total genre that I was in at the time. And then I started a band with me and Mikey's buddy Tommy. Shout out to you, Tommy. Mm-hmm. We were starting a band. He was playing guitar, I was playing guitar, and he's like, dude, we need to find a bass player, and you're borrowing your friend's bass. Can you, like, I don't know, play it? And I'm like, no, bass is stupid. Like,
Who wants to play bass?
I thought bass was so boring. I was just like, the just most like single, like I felt like it was just like my occupying like the space capacity of like a single peanut, like, to play like a bass. Like it was just one note over and over and over again. And so, reluctantly, just because I was trying to be nice, like I was like, okay, I'll do it for a little bit. And then I came across, bass players like The Flea from Red Hot Chili Peppers and Geddy Lee from Rush, and my whole world was changed, and I just fell in love with bass. And meanwhile, like, kind of going back into the physicality side of like, still being scrawny, but still wanted to be, have fun and be athletic. I would always, my favorite game to play growing up was tag. And I always wanted to be it, like literally, like I would just like T-pose until the person was it, like tagged me, because I just wanted to outrun everybody, and I just wanted to like, catch them and like show how fast I could be. And then I remember I finally got to play, freshman year, I signed up to play football, and I got to play cornerback, which was super fun because I couldn't really catch the ball, but I was fast, so I could run and swat the ball out of the way and stop the wide receiver from like ever catching it. And it was at that crossroads in high school I really decided, like, you know what, like I really feel like I'm meant to do music. So this is where I had to say, see you later to sports and all physical activities, and just kind of stick with my musical path, right? Mm-hmm. And so I did that. I've been in and out of quite a few bands, been on some tours, super fun. I've really been grateful and enjoyed my time with all the musicians, across the nation that I've been able to jam with, and, call band brothers and everything like that. But then we fast forward to, I would say, college. Freshman year of college, and I was just like, what? I hate being like 5'8" and 115 pounds. I'm over it. I wanna like how I look. I wanna feel like, physically active and everything like that. So I was just kind of in this venture of like trying to find out what's my niche, like what's my hobby outside of, music, which ultimately like has become my career now. And so in college time, I'm exploring a little bit. And, we fast forward a little bit more. I'm in California. I'm married to my amazing wife, Vanessa. I'm about 25, 26 at this point, and I'm still wondering what my physical, like my athletic niche is. And I'm like, you know what? I'm doing parkour. Like, screw it. Like, I'm just those videos look so cool, man. Like, I just want to do flips and I just want to climb things. Like,
not like a stereotypical, like, oh, I want to work out and I want to go do CrossFit, or I want to go hit the gym and do boxing. No, you're just like, I just want to go jump off things.
I want to be Spider-Man was pretty much like, what I was thinking in my head.
You know what?
Like,
fair. Totally fair.
And so like, I go into Google and I'm like, all right, parkour gym. So the nearest parkour gym was about 45 minutes drive from me, but then there was a ninja gym that was a 10-minute drive for me. And I haven't even watched like American Ninja Warrior at this point or anything like that. I'm like, that looks pretty cool. I mean, it's 10 minutes. Like, I'll check it out. And I get in. It's a really cool looking gym. And I'm just kind of swinging across rings. I'm trying it out. And when I tell you guys, it was like love at first sight. It was literally love at first sight. But
was it love at first swing?
I guess swing, because like I don't have telekinesis, unfortunately. So like I can't just look at thing and just, like, make it move or whatever. But yeah, it was amazing, and I'll never forget the feeling of just going, like, being like absolutely drenched in sweat, super tired, and just like sore all over for the next 4 days, thinking I need to come back.
I wish I had that kind of inclination, like having been to like maybe a couple trampoline parks, and you go in and you think this is going to be so much fun. 15
Yeah.
minutes in, you're like, I am diaphragm.
Yeah.
My diaphragm is broken.
Yeah. I've had way too many experiences of being the 25-year-old that invites everybody to a trampoline park for their birthday, and then having all my friends, like Robbie knows that also too, I'm a person who likes to be physically active and running around kind of doing that kind of stuff too. But yeah, like inviting a bunch of people to go to a trampoline park for your birthday when everybody else is at, like in their later 20s, early 30s, and everybody's just staring at you like, why are we doing this?
Yeah.
Do you know about knees? They're a thing. They hurt.
What this is doing to my knees is not in the bee's knees, Mikey. Like,
It's
what's
not the
going
bee's
on
knees.
here, man? It's not the bee's knees.
It's the
broken knees.
It is the broken knees. That's what the B stands for. So you find like lightning strikes, and you find your thing. And
Yes.
what makes you take it from this hobby or like this outlet in a way and turning it into a passion?
I mean, it's like you said, like it started as a hobby, and then it became into what I called like an aggressive hobby, where I was just, day and night, like thinking all about it. I'm like, okay, how can I get better? Like, I got to work on this beta. I got to work on this. Like, I really want to, get this 14.5-foot wall. I want to get the salmon ladder. And about a year passes by, and the owner of the gym, he was really gracious enough to get me contact with one of the challenge producers on the show, American Ninja Warrior. And this was back in season 9. And so he reaches out to me, the producer does, and I send him a photo of myself, and I send a video of showing him like, okay, this is what I can do on the course. And he goes, great, let's go ahead and invite you onto the course to be a tester. And I'm just like, whoa.
Nice.
That's cool.
So that was my first real experience of actually being like on the show course in season 9. And I was just honored to be there. I remember like I got a couple of obstacles, and I definitely got wet. That's just what they tell you. It's just like, hey, as a tester, you're going to get wet. Enjoy the process. Like it's what we do here. You are wonderful and beautiful crash test dummies, and we want to make sure that this course works. So, and it involves you being wet, then so be it. Yeah. And so I got to be a tester for seasons 9, 10, and 11
nice.
for the LA region. And it was just such a blast. And I remember, making a lot of friends there. And I remember felt like really good about how I tested in season 10. And I, in fact, like I was able to do obstacles 1 through 5 for my test run, essentially. And I was just like, maybe I should really take the show, like going for the show seriously. And so that's when I started applying back in season 10. And I signed up for something called the, now it's called the World Ninja League, but it used to be called the National Ninja League. I signed up for my very first National Ninja League competition in 2018, and I placed for the World National Finals, my first try.
Wow!
I placed in the top 3. And there was like 35 other competitors there, and I just remember thinking like, this isn't real. Like this is an aggressive hobby, and there was this part of me that was like, no, you love doing this. Like this is a passion.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, this is I love doing this thing. And so I unfortunately didn't do as well as I wanted to in the Worlds, but the fact that I got to be at Worlds was huge accomplishment for me. And I was just like, all right, I'm gonna do this. And so for starting in season 10, for 5 years, I had applied for the show, and no luck. Last year, I'm thinking like, you know what, I'll do it again. Like I don't think I'm gonna get in, but I'm gonna do it again. Why not? I'm gonna throw it in. And, come January 30th of this year, I get an 818 call, and every ninja's looking for that. And I just remember I was at my dinner table eating chicken nuggets and like
As a grown
chocolate.
man does, yeah.
Chicken nuggets and chocolate milk. If you're looking for a ninja diet, chicken nuggets and chocolate milk. That's it.
That's the
The
secret.
mark of a true ninja.
That's it. And I just remember I'm like, babe, and she has her phone out. I'm like, no, and I literally I'm picking up the phone. I'm like trembling, I'm shaking, and sure enough, the producer let me know that I got accepted as a official competitor for American Ninja Warrior season 14.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. You're doing all this and you're doing all this ninja training and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
What else are you doing on the side? Like,
so
what else is
on
happening?
the side, on the side, I'm definitely, so my main career ended up turning into full-time just worship pastor. And I love what I do. And it wasn't, because I think sometimes the misconception can be like, oh, if you're leading worship music, like you didn't make it as a, musician in the secular world, or you didn't, get signed to a label or something like that.
Sure.
And truth be told, I actually had an opportunity to be with a signed band before I chose, being a worship pastor full time.
What made you reject that?
Honestly, what made me reject that, and it was hard to do because,
Sure.
I love the band that I was with. Like, I still talk to them. Like, they're like brothers to me. And it was nothing with the band. It was just more so personally, I felt like I was encouraging people, and I felt like I was doing something that felt really true to me and didn't feel as forced as the rest of the music that I was playing. And it's something that like I couldn't ignore as well. And also just on top of that, statistically, when you look at how many musicians make it, and what I mean by make it is can have a full, like, affordable income where you can legitimately make a living off of, being a musician and doing music in your life, it's less than 2% in America. Mm-hmm. And that's not even counting, like the Bruno Mars and, like whoever else is kind of in that top tier. Like, I'm technically in that 2%.
True.
And the opportunity presented itself, and I'm just like, you know what? Like, everything feels right about this, and I'm not going to say no. And so that was honestly like, this is definitely what I do as a living. Like, it's definitely my calling, and I'm very lucky to do that in Ninja. And a lot as well as that, Ninja is also my passion. So I feel incredibly blessed and very lucky to, be able to do what I enjoy full time.
So I would imagine that like the music, all of it, because it seems that all of these really harmoniously coming together. And there's a lot, I think, like Mike and I might have thought about, like, you're training for ninja, and it's a lot of like physical work that you're putting into strength training, stamina training, all that kind of stuff. But at least what I'm hearing from you and your passion about music is like, and as well as your faith kind of tying them both together, it feels a lot like part of the training you go into, your passion for ninja feeds into your passion for music as well. Like you're not only training when you're going into ninja gym, it sounds like you're training when you like through your music as well, and vice versa with ninja training.
Yeah, and I tell you guys what, like, because I'll go into, I think, a very pinnacle part that I would love to share with you guys in my ninja journey.
Please.
And just so you guys know, like, this was a dream come true. Like, I have been waiting 5 years for this thing, and all the stars seemed aligned. Just so grateful, and I'm still grateful for the opportunity, so grateful for the production of Ninja Warrior, and they were really kind to me and just, so gracious. And I got to meet, a lot of my heroes and new friends as well. And I just remember feeling physically ready, just good. I even had a tester buddy come up to me when we were going, rules for the course. He put his hand on my shoulder. He was like, dude, you're going to finals. This course was made for you.
Wow.
And I'm like, yes! Like, I'm just like, I was feeling it. I was feeling so good that day.
What?
And my producer,
I gotta ask you. What song is going through your head as like you're getting pumped up and like you're just getting this going?
Song.
You have to.
You have to. Song.
Okay, so this is like kind of, I don't know how many people know this artist, but this is literally what I call like my pump up, like workout, getting ready, like epic artist. His name's Woodkid. And shut up! Are you serious? Yes! Woo! Run boy run. Yep. So it's literally it's Run Boy Run by Woodkid.
Yes.
And dude, the reason why I love Woodkid so much is like I remember seeing him in an interview. He was like, I want the listener to feel like they're in their own movie.
Yeah.
And that's why it's always helped me, like, just because I'm like, yeah, like I'm focused on what I need, what I'm choosing to be focused on right now, and I'm gonna go after it. I'm gonna get it. I walk up right up to the starting line, like it's the moment, and I'm looking behind me. I'm like, my name is on that board. I'm just like, I'm getting emotional. I'm just like, I never thought I would see the day where my name is on that board behind me. I'm looking to the screen. I see my loved ones. I see my friends, my ninja friends back in California. I see my wife. I see Link. And, they're just so excited for me. I'm teary-eyed, and I do this crazy bass solo to kind of like get myself amped up. They let me walk up with the bass and do like, just go to town slapping on it. And like, like the whole audience is like clapping along. I'm like, yeah, like I was just so ready. I was so ready. And I'm looking at the steps. I'm like, you know what? I feel so amped right now. I'm just going to lean into the adrenaline. Like, I'm just going to let myself get super pumped up, and I'm just going to go. And I made it to the 5th step and fell right into the water. First obstacle.
Oh.
And leading up to this moment, I'm thinking in my head, you know what? I'm going to be fine just as long as I make it past the first obstacle.
And you made it to the 5th step.
I made it to the 5th step, and I remember getting out of the water, and I'm still like really amped on adrenaline. I'm just going like thinking in my head, wow. And then I turn to the camera, like, the camera's like right on you. You're on a TV.
You gotta
show,
get that reaction shot.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Of course.
Here's what's like really uncanny, guys, because here's what my real thoughts were going in my head. I was thinking to myself, like, wake up. I was thinking the day that was my dream come true was also my nightmare come true.
Yeah.
And that's what I was dealing with, and that's what I was wrestling with. But I still made a choice in that moment. I turned to the camera and I smiled. Even though I didn't feel like smiling, like I'm smiling.
Yeah.
And it was literally, it's hard to describe. Like, it's almost like I was on autopilot, because the words were just coming out of my mouth, and I was just like, oh man, that's not what I expected to go, but hey, you know what? I'm going to try again, and I'll see you next year. And they go, okay, cut. Like,
God. Oh,
yeah.
I'm so sorry. Like, even after all of, and you had psyched yourself up so much.
Oh yeah,
getting into that too.
Yeah,
I'm really glad that I had my faith to really get me through that, because, again, like I mentioned before, it was a choice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I had to look at that failure, that defeat, and know that, like, this doesn't have to kill me.
How did you learn that?
It was one of the most devastating moments of my life, looking back on it. It just, in terms of devastation, sorrow, I felt like I was mourning my dream.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of self-embarrassment too. And luckily, like, I'm at the age where I can go like, hey, like, no one's gonna blame me or think less than me. But it really became a battle against myself for the next couple of months.
Yeah.
And I just remember thinking, like, God, like, I felt like the stars were aligned, like I felt everything lined up, like, I don't hate you, but what was that? Like, what was the point? And ninja's my passion, but music is who I am. And so that's what I turned to,
Yeah.
It's like I didn't have it was just my natural reaction to just start writing, just start writing this prayer out of my heart that I was just like, look, I don't know why it happened, but I'm just going to trust that it's for a reason, and I'm going to keep chasing that reason until it becomes clear.
Now for a quick break. We would like to collaborate with people. You've got a product, we've got vocal cords. We can talk about it. And if you would like to sponsor us, that would be amazing. But we'd like to give you a little bit of flavor of what we can do. I know it doesn't just come for... Yeah, exactly. It doesn't just come for free. So I got a thing that I'm going to be... trying to sell you today.
What are you trying to sell me today?
Okay,
Tell me.
So today's sponsor is believing in yourself.
Aww.
That's right. Whether you're a monotheist, polytheist, or just theism isn't your thing, believing in yourself is a crucial survival skill. Positive mental attitude be damned. Yeah. For the low price of your self-esteem, you can gain exclusive access to feeling good about your life choices, not caring about what other people think, and most importantly, sleeping at night.
Yeah.
With believing in yourself, you can achieve the impossible, like climbing a mountain or finishing your screenplay. The possibilities are dreadfully endless.
Truth.
Use code FillGood to unlock a special message. Use code FillGood to unlock a special method.
Take 5.
Use code FillGood. Use code FillGood to unlock a special message from your therapist saying that they don't know what this code is and you still need to pay them. Believe in yourself today.
You want to know what?
Yeah.
10 push-ups right now. Let's go.
Do it. Go. Wow. I think I have a customer. If you liked any of that, I know it's just flavoring. It's just a
little seasoning.
A little seasoning. If you want the full, like, muy caliente, give us a buzz, FillGood Podcast.
At gmail.com.
Or you can find us on the social medias at FillGoodPod, on TikTok, on Instagram, not Twitter anymore, for the love of God.
We can get verified, though.
We can get verified real good.
But follow us. Hit us up if you want us to pitch anything that you ever wanted us to pitch. We love you. And let's get back to the interview.
Absolutely.
And scene. I totally got like fuzz in my throat from doing those push-ups. Okay, so you're pouring yourself into your music and you're writing this prayer and everything. Like, why? So, what's going through your mind as you're doing this?
Yeah, so what's going through my mind is like I have this heaviness in me, and I just got to get it out. Musically, I'm thinking like, okay, like the hook's actually not too bad. And I remember, Eric, who's one of the other worship pastors I work with, and we tour together during the summer with our band. He's asked me like, have you been working on anything recently? And I just show him this song. It's called Let It Be Done. And he says, dude, we got to make that a record. Like that's a hit. Mm-hmm. And so I'm like, okay, like, and that moment, you guys, was so humbling because one, like it showed that like all of us, we all have room to grow. Like we all have room to grow. And two, I was just very thankful that I made a choice in that decision to, one, not give up on Ninja and not succumb to the ultimate failure is just quitting.
Yeah,
it's just deciding like
sure.
I'm gonna decide to just drop it altogether and not see this as a really, really cool part of a beautiful story. And that's what Let It Be Done is about. And it's like, whether, no matter what you believe, each of us are a part of a story. Each of us are a part of a story. And like any good story, there's some plots, there's some twists, and there's some hard parts to go through. And we all have a choice to, are we going to let this be the end of the story, or are we going to let it be the end of a chapter?
Yeah.
That leads into something more later on, and that we use as inspiration. And it's much easier. I remember thinking these thoughts, and at the same time feeling this is impossible. And what was so cool, you guys, is we toured this past summer, and we and by we I mean a band I'm in called CCB Worship. We toured across the summer. We went to Ohio, we went to Michigan, we went to Maryland, and we shared this song at conferences that we got hired to play at. And I'll never forget the first show that I played. The very first night we were playing Let It Be Done. Every single student sang the song.
Wow.
After the first time hearing it. Like literally on the first chorus, they started singing it.
Nice.
And I'm just fighting to hold back tears at this point. Just going like, whoa. Like this is, my pain means something.
Yeah.
Like that fall means something. You know what I mean?
Musical has that magical way of just being able to transcend just words and notes. Like there's that, like people can feel with music. There's an emotion that's carried with every chord that's strummed, with every word that's written, and the context behind it. And that's also the other fun thing that I like to find, is that everybody can listen to the same song and have a different reason for why they love that song, and a different thing that ties to it. And with just what you've spoken about, of you went through trials and tribulation, and you had like what ultimately was like basically a death in a way. You went and attempted a thing and you stumbled and quote unquote failed in a way, that some people might see it that way. But you found this way to lean on a resource of yours that helped you push through, that helped you carry on and build yourself stronger to it. And other people were able to also lean onto that in a way.
And I mean, it was just really cool to see that other people were able to lean on this story, this prayer that had just happened to have lyrics that rhymed and musical notes behind it, and have their own reasons to lean on it that were outside of my own for writing it in the first place. I think every songwriter, regardless of your genre, is just honored when something that was really a part of their soul can just inspire others. And music is just so cool that way, how it can unveil the most raw emotion of humanity in ways that we can't even perceive until we're in it. I would love to, if you guys don't mind, I would love to actually tell like a really cool story that happened.
Tell us.
To
please.
these students. Yeah.
Buckle up, everybody.
Yeah, man. Dude, all right. This is heavy, but it's good. I promise. Like,
we love the heavy.
Yep. All the heavy.
Love
all
the heavy,
feels.
and it
emotionally
means
swole.
the good.
Let's go.
Let's go.
I will never be as emotionally and mentally swole as Byron. Okay, like just like. So.
Stop it.
we're in Michigan, and this is probably the third night we play this song. And these are all high school students that are, coming out from different churches that are, invited to this really big conference that, CCV Worship had. We love being a part of it, and we're honored to be there. And unbeknownst to me, we're introducing a song, we play this song. These two students came in that week, and their mom is sick, and I mean really sick, like on her deathbed sick. And they still showed up because they knew that that's genuinely what their mom wanted.
Yeah.
Like it's, and I respect that. It's just like, only they could really know what their mom's true desires were. And, they believe that their mom wanted them to be there rather, just stay with her kind of bedridden at home. And they hear the song Let It Be Done, and they send it to their dad. And mind you, their mom has been pretty much in a vegetable state for quite some time, unresponsive. And the dad starts playing Let It Be Done. And for probably the first time in a while, the mom raises her hand, full extension, on her own, in reaction to hearing a song that came from me. And that was, from what I was told, that was the last thing that she did before she passed.
Wow.
Yeah.
Music's magic.
Yeah.
How's that make you feel?
I mean, I'm never gonna forget her name. Her name's Monica, by the way. Her name in that moment is always gonna stick with me, and that it made me feel. Here's an interesting word. Like, I don't want to use the word small, but I guess like humble is more appropriate. Like, I just felt like, man, God, this song was so much bigger than me. That moment was so much bigger than me. I had no idea what was in store, and I didn't know the why of why I felt, but now I finally do.
Yeah.
I mean, I find this so interesting because I think, like, even for me in the place of where I have my beliefs now, I'm definitely a lot more agnostic these days, and that's what I'll call it for lack of a better term. But it's more about, like, I hear stories like this, and it's always to me about, like, at least what I appreciate about this sense of faith, whether you're Christian, you're Jewish, you're Muslim, whatever you believe in, that sense of community is more grand and more ethereal than just what is in front of you, because the points of connection, and I'll say there are definitely those people that I know that they will look for that. But then there's those, like what you're telling us here, it's this very genuine moment where you didn't have to be in the room, and she made a connection to you, and you made a connection to her. Both of you worked together without knowing each other to serve a moment for them.
Yeah.
And that's not only the power of music, that's the power of the power of you, that's the power of her.
I mean, there's this bigger,
really big.
It's really big. And there's this, like, for me, I'm more of an atheist in these days, but there's still, like, with that level of community and also with that power of music, as we're chatting at the top of our conversation, you have the ability to physically see music and be able to see the energy, and you can see, like, one color can give you maybe more of a melancholic kind of melody, or this might be able to bring some positivity. And like, I know the way that you play music and the things that you're able to compose and everything there. And I can get a sense of what you wrote had heart. It had compassion. It had like a purpose written into it, that regardless of if you're a believer in Christianity, whatever it may be, there's a message that can still get across, and there's a feeling that comes with it. And there's been studies that have gone to show of the brain responding to specific sounds and specific things, even within these vegetable states. And you were able to make something that was able to give this family a bright experience towards the bitter end.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what's crazy about it, is just because, like, I mean, like you were saying, like you guys are saying, that moment, that song for me, because I've written quite a few songs. That is one of the most raw and hardest songs for me to have ever written in my life. That was a hard song to write, because when I was writing the words, "Let it be done," part of me was letting go and actually saying, like, you know what, like, if I'm singing this and if I'm saying this, that means I'm choosing to be okay with what happened with my mistake, and my shortcoming on the show. And it's like, that was painful. That's like me. I'm like, no, I want to go back in time travel and like rewrite that. Like, I don't want that. Like, I was ready for the buzzer. But no, like, and for me, for coming into that song in a painful aspect, looking for a release from the pain, this mother was looking for the same thing, but in a more of a, I'm ready, let it be done. I'm ready to go. Like, I'm at peace.
Yeah.
And that's what blows my mind, that I could come from, my brokenness can be used in a format of music to bring somebody peace. And that just blows my mind. It's
wild. I mean, it's wild in the most amazing sense. But also, too, kind of to what Byron was speaking to earlier, of this song was able to get to this woman by a community. And you have been able to kind of plant and harvest yourself within a sense of two very strong communities of the ninjas, and also within your church and the general network that kind of comes along with that. What are some of, how do these communities help you?
I mean, it's always good to, I mean, it's easier when you're doing life with like-minded people.
Yeah.
I think that's an easy way to go about life, but I also challenge that. And I also feel like it's more fulfilling to do life with all people.
Yeah.
Don't just peg yourself into one group because it's easy, but challenge your thoughts and challenge the way how you perceive the life that we live by putting yourself, I mean, you know, because musicians, and I was actually having a conversation with somebody from church the other day. He was like, dude, when I heard like you're, you know, worship leader, and then I heard you're a ninja warrior, I was like, nah, I know he's not. Like,
preconceived notions.
Like, yeah. And then even like when I was like coming onto the job that I love doing, I'm happy with now. Like one of my best buds out here, he just heard that I do like Ninja Warrior, and he's like, all right, he's a jock. Like, he just works out, you know, 24/7. He's not a nerd like me. And literally the first like dinner we had with like him and his wife and him and my wife, like it was like a Step Bros moment where I was like, Batman. I was like, you like Batman? Yeah, I like Batman. Which one?
Which one?
I don't know. Kevin Conroy. Did we just become best friends?
Yep.
Like, and it was like, yeah. But I would say the way how these two communities helped me the most, is really just broadening perspective. Um,
Mm.
and I'm happy to be, with ninjas who come from all sorts of different backgrounds. And, I'm a, you know, uh, born and raised Californian, as Mikey knows. Um, and to come out here and to be with, my church community and my band, who, again, we're a collection of different ethnicities and backgrounds and cultures. And what I love about them is like, do all of us believe? Yeah, like we believe, but we all have different perspectives at the same time. We're also not afraid to challenge each other and question it, and to like, play devil's advocate and just go like, but what about this?
What I'm learning from you is that you invite that invitation to challenge and conversation where others might not. Others might of your faith are going to probably just want to sit at like and with their hands covering their head and just say, la 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 la, because it's just more comfortable. And I'm sure it doesn't surprise me now that like you're coming into this conversation with us and we're coming from a place with a little bit more logic and things, and we're coming together and having a quite a pleasant conversation, if I'm not mistaken.
No,
What
it's
I
terrible.
love
It's awful.
Yeah,
It's
I'm leaving.
awful.
Bye. La 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 la
Yeah.
la.
What I'd love to understand here is that you're not irked by this idea of like anybody coming in, and with this idea of looking at what you go through and the way that you connect with people and be like fallacy everywhere. Like what?
Right.
How do you approach that idea of your faith being challenged in a way that allows you to still be able to come back to it and still be able to have your sense of self there? Is it this idea that it is unchanging, and I've heard their piece, I've heard like and this is what we believe? Or is it like, oh, I they've just given me something that I can add to this?
Yeah. Uh, and I think that's such a great question that I wish more Christians honestly would discuss and talk about more, because I look at, Christianity. What the biggest thing that we're trying to aspire to is carry ourselves in a way that Jesus did when he was on earth. Now, like, regardless of which belief, Jesus is a real person. Like, he was on this earth.
Look, I'm saying you're halfway there, though.
Yeah. Right? Oh, man. But honestly, it's the fact that we should be open to more conversation and more inviting, because that's what Jesus was. He challenged the Pharisees, who were this group of believers that were like so focused on, saying the right things rather than doing what was right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I feel like that's where we can really miss the mark. And to really answer your question, when I go into conversation, I'm not trying to come in this posture of I'm right and you're wrong. I'm always trying to come in this posture of, hey, I'm human, you're human. Let's talk about what we've learned so far.
Yeah.
And I'll share with you what I know, and I would love to hear what you've learned. And when we do that, that opens up so much more possibility of the one thing that we all are capable of, which is connection, right? And like, I'm a very firm believer in what in my faith and what I believe, but I just don't think it's just not productive to have a closed mind, in the sense where, okay, if what you're saying completely contracts what I'm saying, I'm just going to dismiss it immediately rather than have a conversation about it and see where we can come to an agreement.
I have a great metaphor for this.
What's up?
So, get this. Religion, it's like a silent disco, and a variety of the conversations and communications and everything like that. Everybody has their own headphones on and they're doing different dances. They're listening to different things. And whether it's Judaism, Islam, Christianity, Buddhism, atheism, whatever it may be, everybody's kind of doing their own thing. But nobody's, or I wouldn't say nobody, but there's a power of taking off those headphones and kind of listening and hearing a little bit of what everybody has to say. And as opposed to just being like, oh, that guy's listening to this. Nah, that ain't good. Like, take it off. Listen, try something new. Hear something, and you might learn something. It might not be for you, but it doesn't mean that there's not good there. Take it, listen, learn. And, you know, that's the magical power of like a live band. Everybody's able to hear something, pick up something a little bit different. It's like an orchestra. Yeah. It all comes together. So,
yeah.
While silent discos are fun and everything, you can listen to what you want to. Sometimes you got to take off the headphones and hear the full symphony sometimes. There's a great conversation to be had just about simply having conversations.
Always.
And not having those sort of barriers that are put onto us by our collective bubbles, and being able to actually go and have the conversations and learn the whys as opposed to the whats.
So I'd love to ask you, like, and this is a two-part question in terms of coming to the table with a conversation like we have today. And I think we're only scratching the surface of what we can possibly be taught. This is definitely like conversation religion light here.
Yeah. We're solving all the issues in this podcast right now. So let's do this. If there's anything, it's us. We got this.
Every question about everything, it's right here, folks.
Exactly. So. This is everything you need to know.
Like and subscribe.
So here's what I would love to give some advice, both to the side of people who are, whether or not they're atheist or agnostic or just generally not spiritual. They're not putting a name on anything. What would you ask of them and how they approach the conversation? And then on the flip side, what would you ask of people of Christianity, your own faith, of Judaism, of Muslims, of people who are really focused in being in that space and forming those communities and believing in God?
I could there's just one question that actually comes up that I would almost want to ask both sides of that spectrum. And it's, how did you get to believe where you're at now? Like, how did you get there? And I feel like that alone has such good potential for conversation, because it no longer makes it about being right. It includes both people about their own personal journeys on how they got there.
I love that so much. Yeah.
Because, I mean, it's very easy to come in when, again, like I'm a very, firm believer in my faith and what I believe in. I could come in and just say like, yep, this is everything I believe. And if you challenge it, like, I'll be uncomfortable and I don't want to be uncomfortable. So I'm just going to say I'm right and you're wrong and just leave this conversation. Like, that's too easy. Because great conversations don't have to be comfortable. In fact, great conversations, there should be some dissonance, just like a good story. Like, there should be ups and downs and like, well, I don't agree with that. Instead of saying like, well, I don't like that you agree with that, the better question to ask is, okay, why? Because it gives them the floor to invite the person in. And that's what I think is such a great question to ask anyone. It's just like, I'm agnostic. I'm not sure, I'm not sure I sound. I'm like, okay, right. How'd you get there? I want to know. I'm curious.
Yeah.
And then that's like, oh, this person actually wants to listen to me. Like, not just like tell me what, he or she wants to say. They're inviting me. And that's so much more productive of a conversation than just coming in with your hands up, so to speak.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's the intent and the ambition to make a connection with the unknown, no matter what you believe. It's not about like putting yourself in that place. It's about, what you allow yourself to,
Take the blinders
narrow
off.
view, and taking the blinders off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So much more eye-opening. I've had such great conversations with people outside of Christian faith, and they didn't need to be Christian to have that great conversation happen.
Yeah.
That's just facts.
It's literal facts. It's the fact.
Literal
facts.
Literal. The facts of literal.
Yes. But no, I think that's a great point to be said of, people can have conversations regardless of what you believe and who you are, where you come from, what economic status you are, whatever it may be. Like, people have the ability to have conversations with one another that can transcend those metaphorical boundaries that we put up. And it's literally up to us to have those conversations, and being able to have leaders within those communities, such as yourself, to promote those kind of messages of conversation as opposed to hatred, or having more of compassion as opposed to prevention and fear mongering. And there needs to be more of that out here in the world. And regardless of who you are, what you believe, like, let me put in our tagline one more time. I'm going to say this right.
You
do
can
good, get good, feel good. And
there we go.
If you're able to do all that, you're able to get something. Either you get something out of it or you don't, but you will feel good in the end of being able to treat one another with respect. And everybody deserves that. So I'm going to drop the mic now, and I'm going to I'm good. Thank you so much. I can't drop this one. I can't. It's too sad.
I literally saw the mic out. I'm just.
You're like, well, I'm contractually obligated to drop this mic.
Robbie coming in with the props. Thank you so much. You got the memo.
Thank you, guys.
All right, Robbie, we're coming up to the tail end of this, and I want to tell everybody where they can find you, where they can see your freaking ninja doing this and everything else, and hear the fantastic beats that you be dropping. Where can they find you? Where can they learn more about your future good?
Yeah, absolutely, man. So you guys can follow me on my Instagram page. Honestly, I post a lot of ninja updates, and as well as my band updates on there. Robbie Jimenez, just ROBBIE, all lowercase. And if you guys want to listen to this song that was honestly just a healing breakthrough for me and so many others, it's called Let It Be Done. It's by CCV Worship. You can find it on Spotify and on YouTube. So
check the link below to listen
in the
and
description. We'll be posting about it too on our social medias as well. And yeah, Robbie, thank you so much for being here with us today.
We really appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you guys
for having me. This was such a good time. So
yeah.
I feel good now.
Do you feel
good? That's what I feel good.
Can you say it louder for the people in the back?
I feel good.
Beautiful.
I knew that I would. Know that I
would. Wow. That was quite a ride.
I got the
Let's go again. Okay. What's up, FillGoodies? We're back, and that was a great interview with Robbie Jimenez. He's such a good guy and has always had such a warm heart in regards to giving and everything. And I'm so glad that you gave us a chance to chit chat with you and hear about your stories and your success.
Thank you so much, Robbie.
Thank you. Byron,
yes.
What did you take away from this episode?
I'll call it the power of serendipity. So I felt like something that hearing Robbie talk about the connection, the progression from going from his failure with American Ninja Warrior all the way to writing his song Let It Be Done, to the connection he made with that family for their mother. That to me, I think is like, when I think about what religion is supposed to be, and the families and the people, and what can make religion and believing in God such an amazing thing, is that moment of connection where you don't have to be in the room, you don't have to have really physically met someone, you just have that ability to make that connection with people ethereally. I think that ability to be able to see those tethers, I think that's something that I really admire, is having the open-mindedness to see those tethers and connections. I think, and even for myself, I try to be open-minded, but I don't look for those tethers in whether it's a more figurative or metaphorical sense, or just spiritually. I don't think about that in my day-to-day, because again, like I said at the beginning of the episode, I feel like I spend so much time trying to ground myself in the present, what is physical and tangible in front of me, and not take those more figurative or metaphorical things so seriously. But when you can have a moment to be able to really think in that way, see those connections, it becomes a very powerful thing, and you become a part of people's lives. I felt very moved by that.
Yeah.
And I'm very thankful to hear that Robbie is such a strong person in being able to take his pain and make it something that can heal someone else. That, I think, is really the biggest part of what I took away for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Mike, what did you think of our conversation? What did you take away?
I think the biggest thing that I took away is something that, one, I've always appreciated with Robbie, and something that I recently have really come to value, which is just that general sense of community.
Yeah.
And seeing it in real life. Robbie has a variety of different communities that he is able to go to and rely on for sources of support. Of the ninja community, which is huge, and the people who are in it are in it. They are steeped in a variety of obstacle training and also motivating. If one fails, they will help you kind of bring it back up. Same with his church and the group that he performs with. Like, they all help build each other up. And I think that's something that, for me, friends have always been my chosen family. Because as an only child, and I was moving around a bunch. I'd never really had a set group that I can just always go to. So I was always kind of floating with different friends of wherever I was. So I chose these people to be my support system. And as time has gone on, and as I've moved up here to the Pacific Northwest, in semi sort of a reset in some ways, and finding a new community to immerse myself in with people who are loving and caring and will help at like the drop of a hat. Like, it's awesome to see that power of community and how much it can amplify one's character, if for good, also for bad. But here on the FillGood podcast, we focus on the bright side of things. So I'm very thankful for just hearing more and more about the good side of community. And I really appreciate it, Robbie. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Robbie.
If you want to see more of Robbie's Spider-Man ninja action, or also hear some of his music and everything, you can find him on Instagram at Robbie Jimenez. And please go give him a follow. Please tell him that we sent you.
Go listen to Let It Be Done on Spotify and YouTube.
Yes. Go there. Find it. Link in the bio.
Yeah.
It's down here.
If you want to follow us, you want to learn about who we're going to be interviewing next, or just general updates about the podcast, you can find us at FillGood Pod on Instagram, on TikTok, on, like and subscribe on YouTube, and give us a follow on any platform where you're listening to your podcast. Give us a review. All of
5
these
stars.
things. Yes.
5-star rating. It helps us out so freaking much. Please.
Significantly. If you want to get in touch with us, you want to make suggestions of people you think are going to be interesting for us to talk to, or you want to collaborate with us in any way, we are fillgoodpodcast@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you, even if it's just to say hi.
Yeah.
Because we love you.
We love
you.
We do.
Absolutely.
This is our community. Phil Goody Two Shoes. So, ladies and gents, we're going to have another fun episode for you in 2 weeks. It's going to be definitely different than this episode. So, buckle up, and that one's going to be fun. We're going to be chatting.
Hold on to your butts, everyone.
Yeah, we're going to be chatting with a comedian, and it's going to be super fun. So, much love, everybody, and we'll catch you on the flip, the flop, flip, 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 flip,
The Feel Good Podcast, hosted by Mike Osgood and Byron Filler. Find us on Instagram and TikTok at FillGoodPod, FillGoodPod.
You can also find us anywhere you listen to podcasts, including Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and many more. Thanks for joining us, and we'll catch you on the flip-flop.